Hey guys, it's Caden from the Code Bros. Today we're going to be covering C++ Lesson 2. So in today's lesson we'll be going over the Boolean data types. We'll learn about conditional statements as well as the logical not operator, which reverses a current logical condition. That's used by calling the exclamation point. And then we will also learn to input some data, similar to how in last lesson we learned to output data. Alrighty, so a bool is a data type that can hold two different values. It can either hold true or false. So a good example of this would be this Boolean done equals false. So what's kind of going on here is the bool is the data type, the identifier or the variable name is done. We call the assignment operator to assign a value to it, and we pass that assignment operator false. And that assigns false to the variable done. Alrighty, so conditional statements are statements that evaluate to either a true or a false. Oftentimes, because of this, conditionals are used with bool data types because booleans hold true or false, so it just kind of works really well like that. A good example of this is if I had this variable called bool enter conditional and set it equal to true, then I could say if enter conditional, and then we do the double equals here. This is a comparison operator. So pretty much if what this value holds, which is true, is the same as true, which they would be in this case, we can perform some action. Another thing you could do is, this is obviously for good readability, but not necessary. You could also just say if enter conditional, and since this is true, this would just read as if true, perform action. We also have a logical not operator to go over. This just reverses the logical state of some condition. A good example of this is if we had a bool done equals false. So say done was currently holding false. Then we say if not done, and since done's not true, that means it's not done yet. We can perform some action. So done would have false here, so it'd say if not false pretty much, which would reverse the logic of false, make it true, and it'd enter this condition, which is kind of explained with this text. So if you're not quite getting it, go ahead and read through this, and then if you still aren't getting it, you can drop a comment and I'll try and explain it a bit better. And then we'll also be inputting data from our console stream. And so the way you want to do that is similar to how you output data. Before we used cout for console output, now we're going to use cin for console input, but we're still going to include that input-output stream header like before. A good example is if we had an integer called my age and assigned it 0 as a default value, we could call cin and use the extraction operator here to input into my age, and that would in the console pop up a little blinking spot on the screen, and then you can type things in, but we'll see that later once we get into actual code, which we will be doing now. So this is the code from last week, and we're actually gonna just go ahead and build off of that. So real quick before we get started on going into main and messing with the actual code, let's just go ahead and include that cin operator so that we can use that. Then I also want to incorporate a Boolean value. I really like using done, so we're going to use done today. And I'm just going to set that to false, meaning we aren't done. So at the start of the program, we let it know, hey, program's not done. We're going to be using this later, and we'll adjust based on that. And then I'm going to make another character. It's just going to be one character, and I'm going to call it response. So this is for the input, and I'm going to set it to a capital N to start with, and you'll kind of see why later. But pretty much that means it has a starting value of no, but we'll get to that in a bit. So if I was to build this and run, so I use Control F5 there, it comes up with the same text from last week. And just a quick heads up, I'm just doing start without debugging by pressing Control plus F5, so you can do that as well. But anyway, what I kind of want to do is continue this. So, okay, great, we got some text displayed. Now let's say we want to go ahead and actually change these values around and switch them up a bit. What I kind of want to do is request if the user would like to input a new person, right? Assign new values to these variables and then print them out again, kind of a thing. So the way we're going to do that is by saying cout, so the user knows what's going on, and we're going to ask them a question. Would you like to enter another person? Yes or no. So if I was to display this, what happens here is it says, would you like to enter another person? Yes or no. And then the program ends right here. Now what I want to do is where they can, when it requests input, I want to be able to actually input into a variable. So we're going to input into that response variable. So this is the response from the console from the user that's running this program. Now, to give you an idea of how that works, would you like to enter another person? Yes or no. Now it's got this blinking dot here, and we can input yes, no. We can do A, B, all sorts of stuff, lowercase, capitals, you can input a number. But what we're the goal is to be able to input yes and then have it bring up the input for another person. So we're going to go into a conditional. We're going to say if response is equal to capital Y or these two pipes, so they're the key right above the enter button on your keyboard. You use shift and then the button above it also has a backslash. So you use those pipes. That's a logical OR, so it's not a bitwise OR. It's not adjusting any of the bits and the data. It's just a logical OR condition. So we're going to say OR if response equals a lowercase y, right? Because we want them to be able to put in an uppercase or lowercase y. Now here's where that perform action comes in. You open conditionals and close them the same way you do with like the main function by using these brackets here. And we're going to say done, so this Boolean value equals false. So we're going to keep it at false. If they want to keep going, that means would you like to enter another person? They say yes. That means we are not done, right? That's kind of the logic there. Reads pretty nicely. And then we can say else. So this is an else condition. So for if this evaluates out to false, it's going to jump straight down to this else and do whatever inside of here. And we want to say done equals true. Okay? Because in that case, if they say N or in this case any other letter, we just want to kick the program out. We only want to be able to enter another person if they put a yes or a Y for yes. So now we're going to make one more condition and we're going to say if not done. Okay, so in the case that they put yes, done would be false, meaning we aren't done. So if we are not done, we want to input another person, and then in the case that they input a no, or I mean an N for no, that means we are done, and so we want to just end the program. But if they put the yes, we'll want to go and display, please input your name. I'll do lowercase, input your name. And then we can go CN to my name. And we'll go cout again. Please input your age. We'll go my age. And then cout, please input your gender. cn to my gender. One thing you want to be careful of is with inputting into a character array, you do want to make sure the characters are no more than this number minus 1. So in the last video I went over why this is. You can go check through that if you haven't already to get an idea of what that is. But say I have a 6 here, the maximum number of characters I can put in is 5. So just be kind of wary of that. So we're going to see out, and we'll do a couple \ns. That's going to drop us down 2 lines. Put a couple dashes just to make it look good, and then we'll go new person, exclamation point because we're excited, and then a couple more lines here to head down and make some nice spacing. Then we're going to see out new person's name. Person's name is, and then we'll put my name. Then we'll do an endl to get us to the next line. Let's see out new person. Oh, sorry, you need the quotes there. New person is, and we'll put my age, years old, endl to the next line, and then they will say new person's gender is, and then my gender, and endl. And so let's take a look at how this kind of runs. And actually one thing I want to add is that we could do another else similar to this just to give a quick message and let them know that they decided to exit the program. So let's put a cout down here in this else statement. And this else statement is regards to this if statement up here, the if not done. So if we aren't done, we're going to go and enter new person. Else, if we are done, we are going to say no new person added, program ending. And then we'll head down to the next line just to make it spacing nice. And then let's run this. So we have, hello world, my name is Caden, I'm 19 years old, my gender is male. And that's from that last program we made. And now it's at this current point, it's requesting the input here. So we're going to give it that response. And let's type in, right? Let's say we don't want to input a new person. So it comes down here, it assigns done to true, saying we are done, and then since we are done, it jumps down to this else statement down here, and it'll display no new person added, program ending. And as you can see, it says no new person added, program ending, press any key to continue, and the program ends. Now, let's try and hit Y. So we come back up here to this where it asks for our response. We'll hit Y for yes, and it asks us to input the name. So I'm going to input Bob. Bob is 43. Bob is male. And then we have new person. New person's name is Bob, as input up there. The new person is 43 years old. New person's gender is male. So it all matches up nicely, and then the program ends because it jumps out of this conditional statement here and returns 0 to the main call. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.